They say every great offense starts in the trenches, and this year, the Las Vegas Raiders are putting that theory to the test. Is this the season the Raiders' offensive line finally steps up and dominates the game? Fans are asking, analysts are debating, and everyone's waiting for answers. But before we dive into the latest updates and my honest breakdown of the offensive line, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to smash the bell icon so you never miss any breaking Raiders updates. Now, let's get into it. For years, the Raiders' offensive line has been a question mark, sometimes average, sometimes underwhelming, but rarely elite. This offseason, though, things are changing. The line has been reshaped with a stronger foundation. New pieces have been added, returning players have bulked up, and the coaching staff is clearly prioritizing protection and control at the line of scrimmage. If the Raiders want to win games this year, real, meaningful games, it starts here. No more excuses, no more breakdowns on third and short. This group needs to protect the quarterback, create space for the run game, and set the tone every single snap. And believe it or not, there are signs they might just be ready. Just 1 year ago, the Raiders' offensive line looked like a liability, flat-footed, inconsistent, and full of question marks. But now, it feels like a different story. Let's rewind for a moment. Last season, the team rolled into camp with players like Cody Whitehair, who struggled to make any real impact. Andre James was regressing, and Thayer Munford, while promising, wasn't ready to anchor the edge. It wasn't just disappointing, it was a real concern for anyone hoping the Raiders could compete at a high level. But this year, things are clicking into place. At the center of this transformation is Colt Miller. He's not just a returning starter, he's the foundation of this line. While he might not be as dominant as someone like Penei Sewell in both phases of the game, when it comes to run blocking, Colton is a force. Watch the film. Whether it's power, zone, or wide runs, he's sealing edges, moving defenders, and opening lanes like a machine. Some analysts would even argue he's among the top 3 run-blocking tackles in the NFL. And it's not just hype, the tape backs it up. If the rest of the line can rally around his consistency and toughness, the Raiders could finally have a unit that does more than survive. They can control the game. Colton Miller isn't perfect, but he's reliable, physical, and one of the few tackles who consistently moves defenders off the line. Yes, his pass protection still has moments of struggle against elite edge rushers, but let's be real, he's still a top-tier tackle in this league. Whether you place him in the top 10 or top 15 is just splitting hairs. What matters is, he's the anchor Las Vegas can count on. Now, let's talk about Dylan Parham, quietly one of the most intriguing pieces on this offensive line. He doesn't have the flash or brute dominance yet, but he does have something that's just as valuable: steady growth. Parham has shown signs of progress year after year. He's heading into his 4th season, and with a return to his more natural spot at left guard, this could finally be the year he settles in and makes a statement. He's not there yet, but the upside is real. He's quicker on his feet, reading defensive shifts better, and becoming more comfortable in picking up blitzes. And unlike in past seasons, the Raiders aren't just hoping he holds up. They're betting he'll be part of what makes this line a strength, not a weakness. Dylan Parham might finally be in the right spot, literally. He's back at left guard, where he looked most comfortable during his early years in silver and black. The move back makes sense, and it's showing on the field. Parham looks quicker, more confident, and more in sync with the rest of the unit. If he continues this upward trend, he might finally become the consistent force the Raiders hoped he'd be. But the real buzz surrounds Jackson Powers Johnson, and for good reason. Even with limited starts under his belt, JPJ has shown everything you want in a franchise center. Strength, check. Technique, check. Nasty streak, absolutely. He doesn't get pushed around. He delivers clean snaps, holds his ground, and sets the tone in the trenches. Some are already calling him the most important player on the Raiders' offense this year, and that's not an exaggeration. With Colton Miller, Parham, and JPJ locking down the left side and center, the line suddenly feels solid. Now, the big question, the right side. At right guard, veteran Alex Kappa is a bit of a mystery. His past tape has been inconsistent, and there are legitimate concerns about whether he can hold the line against elite pass rushers. That's why all eyes are on Caleb Rogers, the rookie who could quickly step into a bigger role. If he develops as expected, he may not just be a backup. He could be the future starter at right guard. At right tackle, it's a competition. DJ Glaze is the name getting the most attention, and while some are skeptical, he's showing flashes of starting potential in early camp looks. The position isn't locked down yet, but with the right development, this could be the most balanced offensive line the Raiders have had in years. DJ Glaze might just be the wild card in this entire equation. He's still raw, yes, but the tools are there. Size, footwork, and flashes of real control at the point of attack. If he continues to develop, there's a very real chance he becomes the Raiders' long-term solution at right tackle. He doesn't need to be perfect this year, just dependable enough to hold the edge and grow into the role. When you step back and look at the line as a whole, from Colt Miller anchoring the left side, to Jackson Powers-Johnson commanding the center, to emerging talents like Dylan Parham and Caleb Rogers, this unit has quietly transformed. They're no longer the bottom five group that struggled through the last 2 seasons. They've been retooled, refocused, and rebuilt for balance and strength. Top 10 this year? Maybe. Top 15? Very possible. But most importantly, they're trending up. And for the Raiders, that's the foundation needed for a real offensive breakout. As for whether the quarterback, whoever wins the job, can trust this group to keep the pocket clean, absolutely. This line isn't just trying to survive anymore. They're getting ready to dominate. While most fans focus on players and playbooks, the Raiders may have pulled off their biggest win behind the scenes. This offseason wasn't just about adding talent. It was about adding the right minds to shape the future. One of the biggest moves, securing a highly respected talent evaluator to help restructure the team's vision moving forward. Quietly, strategically, the Raiders' front office has upgraded in a major way. There's no denying the team's past struggles were rooted not just on the field, but in the decisions made upstairs. That's what makes this offseason different. From top to bottom, there's a sense that this organization finally has a clear, unified direction, led by people who know how to build winning rosters. And it shows. The offensive line has been rebuilt. Young players are stepping into key roles. The locker room energy feels different. And at the center of it all is a leadership group that understands not just football, but how to win long-term in the NFL. If the Raiders truly are entering a new era, it won't be just because of what happens on game day. It'll be because of the smart, intentional moves made before the season ever started. 2 years ago, the Raiders' offense was full of holes, shaky offensive line, no real answer at quarterback, and a roster that felt like it was built on Band-Aids. Fast forward to now, and it's a completely different picture. Behind the scenes, key front office moves help the team bring in fresh direction, and it's showing. Strategic drafting, smart trades, and a focus on long-term talent have put the Raiders in a position they haven't been in for a long time, building, not just surviving. The offensive line? Reinforced with young talent like Caleb Rogers, who's already competing for a starting job. Quarterback? Geno Smith brings stability to a position that's been anything but predictable in recent years. And in the backfield, the buzz is real. Rookie Ashton Jeanty is already turning heads in OTAs, showing flashes of what could be a breakout first season. This isn't about hype, it's about direction. For once, the Raiders aren't just collecting pieces, they're building something cohesive. And for fans who've watched this team stall out year after year, that alone is worth being excited about. 2 years ago, the Raiders were trying to make it work with patchwork talent. Now, this offense might be the deepest and most explosive we've seen in years. Last season, Zamir White carried the load in the backfield. He ran hard, no doubt, but now the Raiders have a different kind of threat. Ashton Jeanty, the rookie, brings speed, shiftiness, and the kind of upside that turns heads even without pads on. The potential is sky high. And then there's Brock Bowers. Tight ends like him don't come around often. Versatile, athletic, a nightmare for linebackers. Pair him with a growing receiver room, and you start to see the big picture. Jacoby Myers, once the go-to weapon in this offense, is suddenly the third or possibly fourth option. Not because he's regressed, but because the weapons around him have elevated the standard. And don't sleep on Dante Thornton. Word out of camp is that he's already impressing some of the locker room's biggest voices. That's how you know things are changing. Add to that a revamped offensive line, a capable quarterback under center, and for the first time in years, the Raiders have an offense built to attack, not just react. This team isn't just trying to compete. They're starting to look like a unit capable of winning big games, and winning them convincingly. There's a fascinating dynamic unfolding inside the Raiders organization. Two leaders, two visions, both aimed at the same goal, winning a Super Bowl. On one side, there's the head coach, a seasoned veteran with a limited window. He's here to win now, to go out on top, and to make these next few seasons his final masterpiece. His mindset is urgent, aggressive, and focused on doing whatever it takes to bring home a championship before walking away. On the other side, you have the general manager, a strategic thinker, focused not just on this year, but the years that follow. He's building carefully, deliberately. For him, it's not just about chasing a title, it's about building something that lasts. This contrast is playing out in real time. While the coach might push for using every dollar of available cap space to bring in top-tier talent immediately, the front office is more measured. They're asking the hard questions. Is it worth mortgaging the future, or is long-term sustainability more valuable? It's not a clash, it's a balance. And right now, the Raiders are walking that line, trying to win today without sacrificing tomorrow. It's a rare and delicate dynamic, but if both visions can stay aligned, the result could be something special. A championship-caliber team built to dominate now and remain dangerous in the future. Across the NFL, teams have gambled everything to win a Super Bowl, and sometimes it pays off. But just as often, those same teams fall into cap trouble, roster holes, and long-term setbacks. The Raiders are choosing a different path. There's a natural tension in this building, a coach who wants to win right now and leave with a legacy, and a front office that's thinking 5 years ahead. Pete Carroll wants one more ring. John Spytek wants to build a dynasty. That's the dynamic guiding every decision. Do they push all their chips in now, chasing a Super Bowl in the next 2 seasons? Or do they stay disciplined, investing in smart draft picks and calculated contracts that keep this team strong for the long haul? For the Raiders, the answer might be both. This isn't a rebuild. It's not a desperate sprint either. It's a plan to build a team that can compete right now, without burning its future. And yes, fans may celebrate a single playoff win, but make no mistake, the goal inside this building is far bigger than just making the postseason. The mindset is clear. Get to the Super Bowl and stay good enough to get back again. Let's end with something that's weighing heavy on every Raiders fan's mind: Christian Wilkins' injury situation. After being away from practice for weeks, a recent image surfaced showing him once again in a walking boot. That's the kind of sight that punches every fan in the gut. The hope was he'd be healthy and dominant by now. But the reality is, we might be looking at a longer recovery than anyone expected. Wilkins hasn't been on the field for weeks, and if he's still not walking comfortably after all this time, it's time to face the possibility that surgery may be necessary, and soon. If they get it done now, there's a chance he could recover in time to return for a crucial postseason push, and that could make all the difference. Even without Wilkins early on, the Raiders' defense still has teeth. Max Crosby is as relentless as ever. Malcolm Kuntz is rising fast, and if Butler continues to flash in camp, this defensive front could be a force. But imagine this same group in December, with a fully healthy Christian Wilkins back in the rotation. It's not just about surviving without him. It's about timing his return for maximum impact. So here's where we stand. Optimism is high. The roster looks sharper, deeper, and more prepared than it's been in years. The quarterback position is stable. The offensive line is improved. The defensive line, if it stays healthy, might just become elite. This season feels different. There's real belief in the locker room and across the fan base. And while we wait for camp to begin, one thing's clear. The Raiders are finally building something real, and it's worth getting fired up about.